We are back on Inside Politics. Our guest today, Congressman Diane Black. She's a candidate for governor in the Republican primary on August 2nd. Congressman, there's been a lot of controversy about the tariffs that the president is putting in on countries. One for China is beginning this weekend. A lot of concern about what the two biggest economies of the world colliding on this is going to be. There's concern from elected officials here in the state. Governor, do you think this is the right policy? Aren't we putting our economy in danger by getting into this trade war?
Well, our economy is currently in danger because we have a trade deficit of $500 billion a year. And so there is negotiations, there are negotiations that are necessary, and these negotiations are tough. I'm on the Ways and Means Committee, and I know how tough they are. We meet on a regular basis with the ambassador, the trade ambassador, and also the secretary to talk about what's going on. And these are tough conversations that are happening. We are seeing a little break in some places, like Germany, for instance, is coming to the table to talk about a fair and balanced trade. We have encouraged our ambassadors and also our president to be narrow in making sure that they get the ones that are really the bad actors. And I will tell you that I have been very strong with both the president and the ambassador about how this is hurting our state of Tennessee, and that we need to also make sure that we're not in a war where we do negatively impact either our farmers or mostly our car manufacturers.
This coming week, the president's going to nominate someone to the position on the Supreme Court that's now open because Justice Kennedy's retiring. Do you expect that person, whoever it might be, is going to build a majority that will overturn Roe v. Wade more sooner than later?
You know, that's hard to say, Pat. I haven't listened to any of the discussions about these folks, and I'm sure that there's going to be long conversations that will be had in the Senate as they evaluate each one of these persons, and I will listen very carefully to that.
In terms of defending life, do you support the death penalty? It looks like there may be some executions before Governor Haslam leaves office, but certainly there are others who are perhaps in line. If you're governor, will you carry out the law to carry out executions if that's what is next?
I will do that as long as the law is followed, and the process shows that that person is meeting those penalties, then yes, I will follow that out.
Any concerns about the method? There are a lot of people still have concerns, a lawsuit still going on about the lethal injections, and even some of the companies doing it are not sure how they want to do it. Are you okay about using the lethal injection?
I am, as long as I can be assured that it is compassionate and that we do have something that works appropriately. I will certainly use those lethal injections. Yes, I will.
And the electric chair is an alternative. You don't have a problem using that?
I would say that has been an alternative, and it has been talked about. I would prefer using a lethal injection, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to get to that point where we can have those methods that can be assured that they work properly. On
your website, you talk about supporting adoption. But is that true for gay couples? I believe when you were in the state legislature, you sponsored a bill that would ban gay couples from being able to adopt. Do you still feel that way? Would you support those kinds of laws again in Tennessee if you're governor? What
we see by studies is that children are best in a family where they have a mother and a father, and that was my reason for this bill that I sponsored at that point in time, and I still believe that that is the best way for a child, especially when they're taken away from their natural families, to have a mother and a father.
The Supreme Court had several decisions before this Justice Kennedy resignation came up, or absence, retirement. One of them was legalizing sports gambling across the country. Are you ready? I think there was a question about that at some of the forums that you weren't able to be there because of what was going on in Congress. Would you support Tennessee legalizing sports gambling?
Well, let me just first of all say, I know that gambling impacts people at the lower income the most. And even when we were looking at bringing in the lottery here, which was when I was in the House of Representatives, the studies show very clearly that it is at the people at the lower income. And so I would prefer not to have more gambling in the state. We already have a lottery, and I would like to be able to just keep it there.
The Supreme Court's also allowing internet taxation to happen, online taxation for sales. All the candidates, Republican candidates at a forum, I think all the candidates, actually the two Democrats as well, all said they were in favor of the state legislature and the governor, the next governor, implementing online taxes for internet sales. You were not there that night.
Right.
Are you on board with that as well?
Well, first of all, we have a law here in our state that requires people to pay sales tax on internet anyway. It's just not applied across the line. So we already have that here in our state, Pat, and that is something that people are doing. What the Department of Revenue will tell you is it is too hard for them to go after every little mail order that occurs. And so when this is applied, what they're going to have to do really at the federal level is decide how we can do this across this entire country, where those who are sending the products are not so burdened with trying to figure out how they meet each one of those little municipalities on the amount. And so I think there's going to be more conversation and perhaps legislation on how that will be implemented.
Lieutenant Governor Randy McNally says that if we're going to raise that tax, we need to cut some other ones. Is that where you are on that as far as sales tax?
Raise the tax on
internet sales.
On internet sales. I would say, as we're looking at internet sales, we probably should stay with the sales tax that we currently have, and in some way be able to make sure that those who are ordering by mail, that we have a consistent rate all the way across rather than an individual rate in every place. Now, I'll have to look at exactly how that's done. I'll depend upon somebody from revenue to help me to know I'm not as good on all that internet stuff. And so I want to just make that easier for both the person that's ordering and the person that's selling.
Congressman Black, thank you for coming in, and good luck in the campaign.
Thank you so much.
Before the election. And thank you for joining us on Inside Politics. Hope you'll be back here again for a future show. If you can't get enough politics in the meantime, go to the News Channel 5 website. You'll find my Capitol View commentary there. There's new commentary posted every Friday afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you back here next time. Goodbye.